everyone to Wednesday night is overbooked. Love that product placement there, Ego. Thank you very much. And I am your host, Joker Voice, and back from his adventures on a work conference in New Orleans, we have the one, the only, the talented LeftEyeEgo. Ego, how are you, sir?
Doing good. The work conference went well. I am back and rested, so I'm ready to go.
Work conference.
Yeah, grabbing beads and showing your tits. That's a lot of. And one of the foundations of this show, the bedrock, the root from which the tree springs. We have the shock Mattster, Matt the Unbearable 73. How are you, sir?
Unfortunately, I don't have a screen to burst through in honor of the Shockmaster's entry into the W Hall of Fame, but I'm doing well.
All righty. And we got some folks in the chat already. We have Mr. Thomas Preston, time to get it on. Yes, indeed. Kai, always, you fine soul, you, with the hashtag no yeet in there. And also we have, this is one right here. We're gonna talk about that because some things got interesting. And yes, super kick that like button, tag your friends in as you share the stream, and you can join our faction when you subscribe. Yes, these are all shameless wrestling trope and puns. I like it, and it's a lot of fun. And by the way, these things are ways to support the channel for free. If you wish to contribute to the channel, as Mr. Ego, can you hold up that lovely piece again? We have the Mixed Tees Joker Voice merchandise store. As you see, Mr. Ego's coffee mug, which I have also ordered now myself. I've ordered a new Joker Voice Keep Talking t-shirt. I've worn my Overbooked shirt on stream before. And yes, we also have mouse pads. So yeah, definitely give them a look-see.
Definitely. Tank tops are awesome. I've had mine for almost a year now.
Hello, Charlotte. So yes. So also we have some other news that I want to share. And that is some good news. It appears that Ilya Dragunov has a date for his return to the WWE ring. It's a little later than I expected, so it tells me that knee injury he had was a lot more serious than previously thought. But he is targeting by September of this year to return to in-ring action. If you do not know who Ilya Dragunov is, check out his work in NXT UK and NXT proper. The guy is an absolute badass. And we have a goal. We had a little slip last week, and that's fine. It happens. Double-digit likes in the chat. According to my intrepid sources, we're already about halfway there already. So we got a few topics to talk about here. Ego.
Yes.
Where would you like to start, sir?
You know what? I actually wanted to start off with the controversy with El Grande Americano.
Oh yes, the Chad Gable. Sorry, El Grande Americano. Yes. His first official match in the WWE, his video entrance package caused a bit of a stir, shall we say.
Well, I wouldn't call it a real stir. I'd call it a paranoid left-wing lunatic stir.
Right. This is folks in the internet wrestling community, which is no different than the folks we have dealt with, dealing with media and pop culture the folks just looking for engagement farming, rage baiting, and just being offended for everything and everyone. As in his video package, El Grande Americano hails from the Gulf of America. I laughed my ass off. The character, because clearly it's Chad Gable. His mask says American made in the American made logo. And my initial thought was, you're upset about this when the guy is named for something you order at Starbucks.
That is true. Wow. That is.
I guarantee you, if Chad Gable showed up as in this role in Lucha's play, he'd be over in a heartbeat.
Oh,
the luchadors and the lucha fans would love this character. Yes. Probably do. They're probably demanding. There's probably multiple wrestling federations in Mexico calling Triple H's office saying, "Can we book him?" Like literally.
It's like be the American that other nations know that you can be.
Right, exactly. So that is one thing. And then, so Ego, I want to hear your take on this.
I mean, it is kind of weird because I know that Hulk Hogan did the same thing, and it's hilarious. First of all, it is hilarious, but it's like it's a gimmick, so it kind of did what it was intended to do. Yeah, I mean, like they're supposed to be representatives of the people that watch. Like it's a male soap opera, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like he did what he was supposed to do, which is enrage the crowd or the general audience. Which I mean, I guess you're gonna kind of need him a bit to build up to WrestleMania. I thought it was hilarious, and it's honestly, if you put that somewhere else, it would go over because they understand gimmicks and that there's a whole character that goes with it.
Ridiculous, and it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's you know how they describe Americans in like anime and other shows. It's like they would see us as top tier and braggadocious and all out there, but with the American flag on everything. So it's no different. It's embodying a persona. So I actually love it.
It's kind of like
him.
Who's the Yu-Gi-Oh character? American.
It's kind of like when someone who's never been there goes to Texas. There is something about Texas.
Yeah.
Pride.
That is very true.
Yes. I mean, I've been to Texas, and I have seen the buildings where the Texas flag is larger than the American.
That is very true. Yes. I think that's probably where it comes from, too. It's like, it's the most American thing that you can think of, but it's like, if you've been in Texas, there's a Texas way of doing things, and that's how we go about doing things. So it's like in other countries saw Chad Gable as just El Grande Americano, they'd be like, oh, that tracks. And it's like, it's just funny watching it, but I didn't know it was going to be that big of a thing. But it hit all the right spots for me.
And I would like to, and we would like to say hello to Mr. Eric Douglas, who's got a surprise coming in a couple days. Ooh, interesting. Nice. So, also, the IWC, again, these are just some of the worst people on the planet, which is...
I want to double check. IWC is Intercontinental Women's Championship, right?
No. IWC is Internet Wrestling Community.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just think of it as a bunch of Disney adults.
Okay.
Well, there is an IWC promotion local here, in I think West Jersey or East Pennsylvania somewhere.
Now, this was something else, and this is just how far the IWC has gotten, where Roxanne Perez and CM Punk are definitely hooking up. Seriously?
What?
That's not cool. That's not cool.
This is something that folks were trying to spread to get some traction. More than likely, it's a disgruntled AEW fan who hates CM Punk because he left the company or was fired from AEW.
Well, there's nothing wrong with hating CM Punk. I mean, I love him. I love Punk's in-ring wrestling stuff, but in real life, he's a cosmic super turd. So,
I mean, anyone who reaches a certain level of celebrity in any industry.
No, you can find stories about him going back to when he was like 20 years old and stuff. He uses people left and right.
There have been stories from his days in the Ring of Honor. I've heard them all, and it's again.
I will watch CM Punk on TV. I will never invite him over for Christmas.
I'm just saying that I try to, as much as I can, separate the art from the artist.
Fair point.
Okay, and there was another thing which we will get into again. Is some folks are upset because they picked the wrong match to main event night 1. It should be the women's triple threat. Bianca, Io, and Rhea. They deserve to be the night 1 main event, but they're going with Roman and Rollins and Punk. This is just the patriarchy. Okay, shut
They really said that?
Yeah.
Not in so many words, but
you can find people saying that.
But
there are blue-haired weirdo wrestling commentators.
But pretty much, I mean, for one, I'll give my take first, and then we'll just go around here. Sure. My take is at first, for one, the women's triple threat isn't even official yet. So because as of right now, it's a singles match, and Rhea's hanging out on the outside. Now, that's not saying that Rhea, Io, and Bianca could not put on a great match. Absolutely, these are 3 talents at the top of the women's division on the main roster. Any other circumstance, this could be a main event, close the show type of a match.
Oh yeah.
But this is Roman Reigns. This is Seth Rollins. This is CM Punk. This is the 3 biggest heavy hitters pretty much in the industry right now. This closes your night 1 only because your top prize is closing night 2. Matt, thoughts?
Look, this is the reality of women's wrestling, okay? You could take the 10 best women's wrestling matches in any given year, okay? And individually analyzing them, there would be great matches. But when you put next to a really good men's match featuring similar level personalities, top level guys or whatever, the men's matches will almost always outshine the women's matches in terms of what goes on in the ring and the athletics and moves and whatever. So you have to have the women's match as protected content to do them properly. You can't, for example, have this, let's say this triple match, Io Sky, whatever, right? You can't put, like, say, a table ladders and chairs match on one end and a hardcore Hell in a Cell right around it. People won't even care about it. It'll be a bathroom match. You have to put it in context. Like, you want to surround it with maybe a classic one-on-one wrestling style match on front, and maybe on back you want to have like a brawly type match. So it's totally different what you're going to see from a triple threat women's match. You know what I mean? So people appreciate what these women do. Given, again, this isn't taking away when men and women are different, and pro wrestling as an art form in the ring lends itself to male physical abilities. It's the reality of it. So we got to protect the women's matches so we get great ones, so the women shine. That's the way I look at it.
Ego, your thoughts?
So I will say this: I watched the contract signing between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins,
which we will go into deep.
Oh, you want? Okay, okay.
In a bit
I didn't even. Gotcha. Okay, I will say that there's like the complaints of like the triple threats. You mean like that?
Yeah, like
I mean,
okay. The main complaint is WWE is picking the wrong match to close out night one.
Okay. For me, it's like I've tried watching the Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley kind of feud. The first time when they pushed her Io around and she fights him back, that was cool. And then the second time, then the third time. Now there's a guest referee match. Like I'm just like I don't really care anymore. And I thought that Io Sky came in as champion last WrestleMania. So it's like, what the hell changed? I know it was great when she won it, but I'm like, but at this trajectory, you had it coming into WrestleMania, so nothing theoretically changed. And so I'd much be more interested in a closeout match between. Just hear me out because it would have more drama. That's all I'm saying. Is Jade Cargill versus Naomi with.
If only Jade Cargill could wrestle.
With Bianca Belair as special guest referee.
Well, they can make it over putting landmines in the ring.
This is why we love him, folks. This is why we love him. This is why we love him. He is such a noob. And you know what? I've got something just for this. I've got something just for this. This is just perfect just for this.
That is so cute.
Gotta stand.
All I'm saying is I'm tired of watching the three of them go back and forth with either a double disqualification or have people break up the fight. That's it. Like, just do the damn match, get it over with so we can move on.
So,
not even the cheer for it times, I don't care.
But, okay. My last take is just make the match official. Because to me personally, I don't know about you two guys, but that match on Raw, it was sloppy. It was sloppy.
It was.
And
I was,
which is rare for an Io Sky match. Io and Rhea both can put on a good match. I chalk it up to it was just a bad night, and they were just a little off. That happened.
Question for both of you, because I've never technically watched this year round like I have lately. But do y'all think that the European tour 2 or 3 weeks out, or 2 weeks out from Mania, plus the constant match they've been doing, has made them say, okay, let's do what's safe enough to do and not necessarily phone it in, but not go 100% so that we are ready for Mania? Like, do y'all think that? Like, I know that when you're wrestling, when you do get ready for playoffs in basketball or any other sport, you either rest the starters or you play a half, take the rest off. Right? Do y'all think it's something like that?
I think that this is to generate buzz and I think that's what it's for, because you're trying to build this match and you've got certain talent that because of their schedule, they're not necessarily available. So you want to maximize your crowd react. You want to maximize your crowd pops, which is why for the last 3 weeks, Cena was on Raw every single show.
Oh, got it. Okay. To kind of build things up to, okay, got it.
Now, this is an interesting thought here. The Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber are useless if Rhea gets a Mania match with losing, both, and the same with Roman, Seth, and Punk. Okay, I can definitely see, I can definitely see that, and I tend to agree that the Rumble winners this year have been kind of fumbled a little bit.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I heard Solomon Monster, which if you're not listening to Solomon Monster sounds off, definitely someone should be listening to that. Oh, and Ego, Mr. R2 has a question for you there.
Shit. I've wrestled with her before, but she thinks we're actually like collegiate wrestling, and she'll body slam the shit out of me.
Okay,
we've done kung fu together. It did not go poorly. I almost needed a back brace. She does not play games.
Okay, gotcha.
As funny as that is, I do need to point out you cannot actually body slam someone in collegiate freestyle or Greco-Roman wrestling.
That needs to come back.
I almost got disqualified for that once.
I miss Rowdy too.
The only reason I didn't was because I landed on top of him, but I did throw the motherfucker down. I just landed on top of him. And the ref was like, point deducted, do it again, Marino, and you're out.
Oh, come on. Like, sir, it was gravity, ref. It was all gravity.
And
No, I did a Samoan jump. But
and now I lost my with the Mania thing.
Yeah.
That the way to fix Mania is, especially with the Rumble, okay, because the way it's been presented, built up, is the winner gets a main event spot at WrestleMania. Well, neither one of the Rumble winners are in a main event. Neither one. Where this is the first time that has ever happened.
Oh wow.
So all you need to do is just take the term main event out, and the winner of the Rumble gets a championship match of their choosing.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania. And then the winner of the Chamber gets the other championship match.
That is very simple. Yeah.
No.
That is very simple.
Just take the words main event out. Now, speaking of Mania, and as in tribute to the Shockmaster, as the Shockmaster, aka Tugboat, aka Typhoon, is inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, WWE is doing something new for the Hall of Fame this year. They are inducting the moments, the immortal moments, matches, basically. And for the first moment to be enshrined this year, they picked a banger. WrestleMania 13, the match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart. The match which basically started the Attitude Era and really made Stone Cold the name, because and this was like a double turn in the same match. I mean, Stone Cold went into this match as a heel, came out a face. Bret came in as the face, came out a heel. And of course, this is the famous Stone Cold wearing the crimson mask as he is in the sharpshooter, does not tap out, just simply passes out from the pain. Now, I do believe that this was not their first choice. The immortal moment.
Cat? What? There's no cat behind me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that a spider?
There's a spider and two raccoons, which have to do with history with previous other show. You know?
Gotcha. Yeah. So I do believe, and I think this is probably true. Probably the first immortal moment they wanted to go with was Hogan slamming Andre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But because Hogan is such a piece of shit that they just can't. They're like, okay, no, we have to go somewhere else. And all the bad press he's gotten, I'm sure that Netflix appearance in LA didn't help that look at all. But let's talk about the actual build of WrestleMania now, because as Kai said earlier in the chat, this has been kind of lackluster. I mean, we are 2.5 weeks away from Mania. There are 5 shows left. Actually, 3. You've got 2 SmackDowns, a Raw, and then you've got the go home shows. Now, the go home shows, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's the final show of that's the final show going into a major event. Now, how that term, the origin of that term, I can only guess. This goes back to the Carney days when they're on the road and they're getting ready to go home to do a big show. So they're on the road, and that final show on the road before the big show, when they go home, is called the Go Home Show. That's what I'm assuming it is. Don't quote me on that. I'm just making a guess. So last week on SmackDown, when it finally got announced, the night one main event, we had the contract signing for the triple threat of Roman, Rollins, and Punk. Of course, Roman is sitting at the head of the table where he should be. And Rollins comes in, tries to make nice. They're in London saying, hey, we completed our mission. And Roman's basically like, no, we didn't. There was no we here. The only reason there's a Netflix deal, the only reason we have had record sellouts, it's because of me, dog. And then out comes the Second City Saints, CM Punk. And Rollins is spurring out like crazy as Punk is looking over the contract. And Roman is like, oh, yes, absolutely.
And Roman is still a heel. People, even though he got over as a face and came back, he's still healing it up.
I don't, sir. So this, and then as Punk is looking through the entire thing, and
he only wins when Harley comes over.
And Roman, stop it. So, and then Roman is like, what? Do you need a highlighter or so? Something. And I thought of Ego at that moment because Ego loves highlighters or dressing like one.
That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate it.
So then he's looking through, and Heyman kneels down, and it's like this proud dad moment. And he's like, what you're looking for, it's in there. Congratulations. You've done it. You, CM Punk, are a WrestleMania main eventer. You can see tears starting in Heyman's eyes, tears in Punk's eyes. I started tearing up a little bit. Yes, I did. It's true. And then Roman is like, see, one man's dream is another man's favor. Check. Seth is spurring out again. Punk gives this heartfelt appreciation to the fans, going all the way back to his time in OVW. And then, of course,
no lies. No lies.
So then Roman wants Punk to thank him personally and do it right. You need to thank me. And you can see Heyman's face going, please don't do this. Don't. Kind of like Ego whenever Shiro gets on a roll. Don't encourage this. Don't poke the bear here. Please don't poke this bear. Am I wrong, Ego?
You're not wrong.
So,
early.
So Punk gets down on one knee. Thank you, Tribal Chief. Thank you, OTC. Thank you, Big Dog. And Roman's like, thank you, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but just to let you know, that's not the favor that I'm owed. Cut. That segment alone, Ego, your thought.
I want to personally thank Bradley Duke Devil, for sending me the CM Punk documentary.
Oh, which, by the way, yes, Brad is not here tonight. He also has work to do.
Seems like work's been going around this week.
Well,
You got to arrange some contract signings.
Probably.
Now, I will say I thank him because I didn't fully understand CM Punk and his the path he took to get to where he is, and to know that how instrumental Paul Heyman was in getting him to that point, a la ECW. So the moment he said, "You did it," was we did it. You know, it was a huge moment for me, and I'm like, wow, that is a great moment to have right there. I don't know if it went. I'm not saying it went underappreciated or unnoticed by the general crowd, but it's like, man, it almost, the contract signing with Seth and Roman almost kind of takes away from it, because it's a huge moment for someone like CM Punk to get there and have that statement made, and to have Paul Heyman of all people be the one to say it to you. So I felt that moment, and I've only seen the documentary, and I've only seen him wrestle like 2 or 3 times, like technically live outside the documentary. So if it was a big moment for me, I know it's a big moment for a lot of people that have followed him more closely than I have. Yeah, it was huge. That was a huge moment, man.
All right, Matt, your thought on the segment itself.
Well, I love that Roman is still hostile and unbearably hostile to Rollins, because there's always a plan B. You can never there's never going to be square that away. Roman should invent the move called Plan B specifically to hit Rollins with. That's that's one of the great betrayals in wrestling history. You know, like literally we were talking before our show about how they drank the Cena turn, right? To do it right. Well, on that list of top 10 turns is there's always a Plan B. You know,
well, you're not wrong.
The beginning of that segment was nice. That Roman still had that hostility 15 years later. You know, so then you get to the Punk thing, and this is, again, in real life, he's obviously a hassle, but he carries over so well with his promos, his contempt for people. Even when he he knows how to be contemptuous to people, I guess for real life practice with these promos. You know, the little hint on those words when he drops them. You know, big dog. You know, and the tease there, by the way, is when he tried to get Undertaker tried to put him over as the new big dog, and it flopped hard. Right. That's why he finished with Big Dog when he was praising Roman. You know how it flopped hard, right? So it's Punk doesn't have to do big, loud promos. He can do those little ones too, and it's a very well executed promo. I kept thinking, is there going to be violence in this promo? And when there wasn't, I was okay with it. You know, because the verbiage with the opening hostility and the closing by Punk works so well. You know?
Right. I agree. So we've got this. So now the night one main event is set. We come to this past Monday on Raw.
Wait, one more thing. A triple threat match is a hardcore match, meaning there are no rules. So you can expect others to
there is no countouts.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then we come to Raw. The night 2 main event. The show opens. Wabadoo! Out comes John Cena for the last time in London on Raw. He's got his last time shirt, which I think is really the reason we haven't seen a new attire change, because WWE made a lot of those shirts and they need to sell those. So I'm just saying.
And they're selling.
Oh, yeah, they are. And John Cena has a microphone, and before he can even say a word, out comes Cody Rhodes. And he says, no, John, you've talked enough. It's my turn. Now, for the last 2 weeks, we've kind of had this drip kind of content, where first it was the why I don't like the WWE fans anymore, why number 17 is important. Now it comes down to the face-to-face of what is... Well, hang on to that, sir. Hang on, because that match, the winner of that match is more than likely your de facto number 1 contender for the WWE championship.
True.
Just saying. Now, so we finally had this promo battle between Cody and Cena. Oh, damn! Did they drop some lines? I'll give my favorite line of the entire thing. And for one, this was a great masterclass of back and forth because at one point, Cena walked into the ring getting booed like crazy. At one point, he had the crowd cheering for him.
Yep.
And then within 2 sentences, Cody brought the entire crowd right back to him. My personal favorite line was when Cena told Cody, "I've built empires for billionaires. All you did was take their kids' money."
Yeah, that was a classic line.
That was bars.
Now you know who Ego. You know who he was talking about, right?
Yes, I think I believe so. Yeah. TK. Yes. Yeah.
Very good, sir. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, just your favorite line from that promo battle.
Man, I think it was when Cody said, he's like, I got what I got, but did you get what you got? Because some guy in a back office who we won't even name. I was like,
okay. I was where Cody said, "I was chosen, but who chose me?" They did. It wasn't some guy in an office who's not here anymore that we don't speak of. Anytime
I had to go.
And yes, that is low-hanging fruit, but it works every single time.
I had to go to the bathroom because that was sick. My God.
Matt, your favorite line.
I'm trying to find it because I don't remember how it was phrased, but it's right before the "I'm not going to reduce myself to your level" part.
Yeah.
Which the camera work deserves great credit on this, by the way. Cena's hat says "Rise Above Hate."
Right.
And they're focusing right on him and his rise above hate while he's spewing hate at Cody.
Oh yeah.
But I can't. I mean, I remember listening to it. That's why I was trying to rewatch this before the thing, because it was right before that. I was paging back before it, but I can't remember what it was. There was so many little like little digs in here. How to explain this? This is the doctor of thugonomics at his best. I mean, Cena's always been really like he's always been great at promos, and carrying people in promos. And Cena does something that few other wrestlers who are great at promos, like you go watch MJF, he's great at this too. He knows how to work with the crowd. In other words, if the crowd is starting to cheer when they're not supposed to, he will take advantage of that with the way he does his promo. And you know what I mean? Like he's not just going to say "shut the F up" like some people will do, or whatever.
Right.
So he does that here when the crowd starts cheering a little bit for some of what he's saying. He'll immediately shift the tone a little bit and take advantage of that and saying, like, well, so yeah.
Kai, because of your dedicated service, you have just been upgraded to a wrench status, sir.
Hell yeah!
Now this has been the second promo, right? The first one was the one where he
third.
Okay.
Promo. Now this is the last advertised episode of Raw that John Cena is scheduled for. Now we did also hear Cody mention The Rock. There's only 2 of us in the ring. Which one of us sold out to The Rock? The Rock has not been advertised. But as we all know in the WWE, that doesn't exactly mean what it says. So, could we get a surprise appearance to finally bring some physicalness going into Mania?
Do we need it though?
I think you might need some of it. You might.
Okay.
Now, I thought the promo battle was what this match needed, because you needed to get an interaction between Cody and Cena, and Cody stood tall at the end. I also like the fact that because a lot of folks, this promo battle, and again, we have heard this in other promos, where the heel is justified. Cena's not saying anything that's inherently wrong in a lot of things. But then Cody comes right back and says, like when he mentioned that, he left, and I've been here. I've been the standard. And Cody was like, well, why did I leave in the first place, John? Because you disenfranchised an entire generation of wrestling fans. It made it easy, and I had to do this. Again, Cody's not wrong. I mean, a lot of folks checked out of watching pro wrestling during the Super Cena runs.
Real? Okay. Did not know it got that bad.
Well,
Okay, Matt, you want to?
Well, that is true, but that is not John Cena's fault.
No, it's not.
That's fair.
Okay.
Right.
When Cena had the ability to put guys over, like Kevin Owens, Vince hated it, but he couldn't say no to Cena because Cena had the power, right?
Right.
Cena, like Kevin Owens had to lose the matches, but Cena put KO over in all three of those matches, and Vince didn't want that because Vince was anti-NXT at the time, So
Same with Bray.
Yeah. So Cena is not the problem. There was Vince,
Right.
Right. Yeah. But he played off of that very well by saying he made the billionaire. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he built that into the dialogue.
Yeah. I also liked when Cody said that you got more dick in your promo than in your jorts.
Shorts. That was wild. That was so fucking wild. I was like, wow.
And then there was the other reference to the past when he said, I don't bury talent, I bury mediocrity. Because again, like Matt was saying, the way Cena was booked, he was talked about as he buries talent. Case in point, the Nexus.
Yeah.
What happened with the Nexus? I'm sorry.
Okay, Nexus was
sorry.
SummerSlam. I think it was 2002. I think, Matt.
Was it that early? Well,
Somewhere around
2005 or so, but yeah, that early.
Okay, but
yeah,
it's in the early 2000s, and the match was like a 5-on-1 Nexus against John Cena. John Cena wins the match.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he finally got his final one. He got Wade Barrett to tap out to the STF, and the Nexus angle was an angle that was really going over with the fans. But Vince wanted SummerSlam to have a happy ending, and the hero has to win. Everyone in the back, I mean, Jericho and Edge were famously saying, these guys have to go over. They have to go over.
Yeah. But whenever someone would get over and it wasn't Vince pushed, he would feed them to one of his people, and like he would make Cena get over them and make them bad or whatever.
And then the following Monday Night Raw, Cena did a promo and buried all of them.
Yeah.
So he got a really bad rap for that.
Okay.
But I'm saving the best segment of Raw for right now.
Are you?
Yes. This segment.
It's so badass.
Because up until then, the build for this match.
Boring.
And this is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther being challenged by Jey Uso. This match was on fumes. The build for this match was on fumes. This was boring.
That's fair.
Nobody cared. You had your number one contender and your champion picking fights with Alpha Academy, A-Town down under. This is low mid card. This is undercard. And the 10 weeks of hell resulted in just sneak attack sleeper hold. It was boring. It sucked. Enter Jimmy Uso. Last week, after 2 botches, and Jay's in his head, and he says, I don't think I can beat Gunther. Jimmy, being the good brother he is, said, you can't. Not like this. Challenges Gunther to a match for this past Monday, slaps the shit out of him.
That's a slap.
And then we get this. Now, the match itself was fine. It was fine. It was a pretty standard match. Gunther gets the win, but Gunther does it in a very cocky way. After Jimmy hits the splash, which is his signature move, Gunther kicks out, powerbomb, lariat, pin, picks him up. Powerbomb, lariat, drop kick, goes for a pin, picks him up.
Yeah.
Lariat, picks him up. Finally locks in the sleeper. Now,
I can get to that.
Now, here we go with this. Then the match is over, and Gunther locks in the sleeper again. Of course, this prompts Jay to come out. That's his bro. He's gonna look after his bro. They start going to fit fisticuffs. Gunther goes out into the crowd. Cut to commercial. At this point, I'm like, that's it. Come back from commercial. They trolled everybody.
Yeah, it was great.
Then Jay's looking after his brother. Jay gets pulled out of the ring. Gunther has zip ties Jay to the bottom rope. He's powerbombing the security geeks. Jimmy's kind of looking around, takes the title belt, whacks him in the head, knocks him outside the ring, and now he's taunting Jay. You're never gonna hold this. You'll never touch this. Jimmy emerges, is busted open.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then Gunther sees the blood and just goes into attack mode. Hold his head up, just out of reach of Jay. You see this? You've done this. This is what you've done, Jay. Beats him, licks the blood and goes, spits it out like it's beneath him. Slaps in a sleeper. Blood is just getting all over Gunther. Jay is struggling, reaching. You could, now, it wasn't Mike, but you could hear Gunther say, "Come on, you pussy." And the final image of this segment is Gunther standing victorious, holding the belt, just bathed in Jimmy's blood. And I'm like, perfect. Now this is personal. Now this means something. Now I'm interested. I'm more interested in the follow-up, but this is what this feud needed. I'm going to save you for last, Ego, on this. Matt, your thought on the Gunther Jimmy segment?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I'm told Jay, don't break cuffs because those zip tie ones. He's strong enough. If you twist at an angle, he's sure he'll break them. So that was very good directing to say, make sure you stay linked, to the thing. Now, as far as the blood work goes, I don't know if it was a real cut or just with blood pellets or whatever, but it was well done.
No, because you saw from another angle when he got knocked off the apron, he went under the ring a bit, and
so he blade under the ring. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was well done. At the time that they made it, the camera work favored them in this, didn't ruin the spots. You know what I mean? It was well, like the camera work with him, like choking him out and in front of his brothers, yelling at him. The camera was in the right spot. Even after the fact, when the camera's focusing on, Jim's dead face and you lay bloody in the ring, center screen, and Jay is like putting down his head, like, and goes in the background, blood coated, like a gladiator over, and the look and the facial expressions. I just found, okay, I'm gonna share a still shot of it. I'm not gonna play it so we don't get caught. Let me share, present, screen share. Okay, so I'll share this. So this is a still of what I was just talking about.
Yes.
And look, if I made full theater mode it. So look at the facial expressions behind them. Everyone was directed well for this promo. You know what I mean? Like they're looking like, look at I don't know who this guy is who I'm mousing over here, but look at the look on his face staring at Gunther. They're all like
what done?
Yeah, like this was so well constructed. Whoever directed this promo, whether it's Triple H or someone else or a regular director, did great. They deserve kudos because the camera work was perfect. But if this camera at the right angle, you catch none of those facial expressions.
No.
None of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a great, very well done.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here you go. I know Jey Uso is your man.
You're damn right.
Guy. That's your guy. How did you feel seeing your boy helpless, unable to do anything but watch his brother get murdered in Minecraft?
Fair. I will say that there are certain battles that require an emotional anchor. And I think that this was one of them. It's kind of like Karate Kid 2, where Daniel didn't have to fight Chosen, but the minute Chosen pulled up on Kamiko and had him stranded out on the island, he's like, I have no choice but to do this now. And it's got to happen. Two men walk in, one person's got to walk out. So it kind of reminded me of that. I do think that they kind of relied heavily on the crowd and Gunther's promise of 10 weeks of hell. But again, when it's sneak attacks and chokeholds, that's not 10 weeks of hell. That's hazing. So the fact that it's now, like, this is a hellacious moment. And I kind of agree with Kai. It could have been this from the outset. I mean, I thought he was going to do...
Duh.
I thought he was going to do a lariat on Rikishi. I thought Naomi was going to get a sleeper hold. I thought Jimmy was going to get super kicked and power bombed. Like, this should have been the 10 weeks of hell that we got instead of just waiting up until the last minute to do this. So I'm glad they course corrected and brought in Jimmy to give an emotional anchor. So it's going to be an even bigger banger of a match come WrestleMania. Now, so I'm actually glad they went this direction.
Props to Jimmy Uso, because a few weeks ago, he was in a segment with LA Knight where he was challenging LA Knight for a U.S. title match at the Mania. Well, they dropped that cold real fast and inserted him into here. So Jimmy's probably not going to be in a match at Mania. Now, is he going to show up to help put Jay over and help Jay win this title? Possibly. Who knows?
Well, good business decision on both Jim Rather, I should say, and WWE, because that feud with LA Knight wasn't going over. Like, no. Jim was getting his big Jim push as a singles, and it was not going over. It wasn't working. So they swerved very well away from it, put him in a position where he could make money, and he did the work. And I'm sure they probably saw bloody Jim Uso t-shirts now if they wanted to.
Maybe.
Who
knows? So I'd say some of the build for WWE has gotten a lot more interesting. Now, the fact that we've only got 8 matches announced for about a 14 to 15 card event for 2 nights.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
That's a little the worrisome. So a lot of this stuff is going to be rushed because as of right now, Liv Morgan, who last year for a majority of 2024 with no Becky Lynch, no Charlotte Flair, no Asuka, Bianca and Io mixed in with all of the tag team stuff. Liv basically carried the women's division. Right now, does not have a path to Mania. You've got the New Day, which looks like they're going to have a match with the War Raiders. Great at Mania, but I mean, there's a lot of folks that there's still a lot of things that need to come together to make some good Mania matches. Speaking of Mania matches, it is time. It is time for the staple of the show, and that is the Wednesday Night is Overbooked Top 5. Normally, I know.
Well, that got interrupted by the other guy being kicked out of WWE too, with the whole New Day storyline.
Oh,
remember what's his face?
Odyssey Jones.
Yeah.
Well, that heel turn, they fumbled that big time.
Well,
So,
I'm saying,
last week was the worst WrestleMania matches of all time. Appropriately this week, it is the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Salute, gentlemen. Raise your glasses, especially Ego in that lovely. There you go. That lovely. Actually, hold on. We're going to do this right here. In that lovely Wednesday Night is Overbooked mug, which you can get at the Joker Voice merch store. Link is down in the description. Salute, gentlemen.
Salute.
Speaking of links, all of our socials are down there as well.
I say you better subscribe or we'll bash in some skulls, right?
So make sure you subscribe to all of our channels, or Harley will come and hit you with her mallet, which some folks might enjoy. So the way this works in our top 5, in a category, we rank this on a point system. Our number 5 pick gets 1 point. Our number 1 pick gets 5 points. So at the end, our legal expert is not here to tabulate points. So I will be doing that here. And we will decide scientifically the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Normally, I would start to my stage right, but he made a bonehead statement earlier. So now he finds himself in the basement here. Mr. Ego, your number 5 WrestleMania match of all time.
Number 5, I've got WrestleMania 31, Lesnar v. Reigns with the Rollins robbery.
Heist of the century.
Of course, there's always a plan B.
Yeah, I think this was like my second WrestleMania that I'd seen with my friends in Philly. And when I saw Rollins running in, I'm like, didn't he just get RKO'd at the beginning of this like 3 hours ago? Yes. And it was like one of the most beautiful RKOs I'd ever seen. A curve stomp reversed to a RKO out of nowhere. It was awesome.
Gorgeous.
So I'm like, what is happening?
It's so badass.
I didn't even know how you could do a cash in. I like, what does he do? And they're like, they couldn't really tell me what was happening because they're like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. Like, what's happening? What's in the briefcase? They're like, it's championship. I said,
what's in the box?
Yeah, I really wasn't. What's in the box? They're like, it's championship. I said, but I'm watching the championship. They're like, no, he's cashing in for the championship. I'm like, you can do it. They're like, hell yeah, you can do that. And by the time we got to that point, he's running out with the championship. Yeah, just swinging the shit. I'm like, that is a robbery if I've ever seen one. So that has been forever etched in my mind. So that's my 5th greatest wrestling match.
All right. Matt, you're number 5.
Just follow us on the Ego set for a second. Was that RKO? Was that the one where Seth jumped off the top rope and Randy caught him?
Yeah.
No,
That's the greatest RKO of all time.
Well, he started from the top to gain momentum, and he goes to hit the curve top, and Randy pops up, launching him higher into the air.
That's what I'm thinking, because Randy caught him in like midair.
Yeah.
That's the most great RKO of all time. Anyway, so my number 5 is the end of an era match, WrestleMania 28, Undertaker Triple H with Shawn Michaels, the special ref. We've talked about this before. My Undertaker's greatest matches. You may notice a few familiar matches in my top 5 WrestleMania matches of all time. You may have heard some of them. You know, this is the culmination of a 5-year feud, more than 5 years technically, because that literally went through like multiple WrestleManias, multiple other pay-per-view events. You know, and it just such a glorious ending to a glorious match. Hell in a Cell. I mean, number 5.
Gotcha. Wow. Very cool.
That was back when all the people would constantly RKO out of nowhere, everything. Like
Right.
the astronaut and all that stuff, man. Remember that?
All right. My number 5, we're going to go back a couple years to WrestleMania 39. Night 1, the main event, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship against the longest reigning tag champions of all time, the Usos. This is the close of Sami's arc from the bloodline to being ousted from the bloodline, the reunion of Kevin and Sami. This is kind of where the bloodline is at the peak of their power. And this match was back and forth. Solo got involved, and when the Usos hit the one and done on Sami, it was like, oh, it's over. And Sami kicks out, and the crowd goes ballistic, absolutely ballistic. And they're hitting moves left and right, and it comes down to like the last 60 seconds. And Kevin just grabs Sami's face and says, "Let's do this." And they start throwing blows. It's Sami who hits a haluva kick on Jay. Kevin gives Jimmy a stunner to keep him from interfering. And it's Sami who gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Just to go through that story, especially for that 6 months with Sami Zayn, this was an absolutely goosebumps and real goosebumps, not that fucking dumbass says. This was an amazing match. Absolutely amazing. Ego, you're number 4.
All right, WrestleMania 30, the first time as an adult I watched WrestleMania. And so at this point, I know that
Ego, what was that? What was that you said?
The first time as an adult that I watched WrestleMania.
That is so cute.
I go on. So I know that March Madness was going on around this time, and I was watching Wisconsin play some team in the tournament.
Seriously, no one cares.
I'm getting there, okay? I'm getting there. All I know is that, like, there's nothing really happening, but everyone's just yelling yes for whatever reason. I'm like, no one scored yet. It's timeout. Why is everyone yelling yes? And my buddy's telling me it's because of Daniel Bryan. So I wind up watching WrestleMania 30 and see Daniel Bryan have to go through all that he went through to wind up being the undisputed champion with the shoulder injury, with the whole thing, and the whole crowd going yes. It's one of the few times where I've seen one thing that was in wrestling actually be in popular culture, and I saw it in popular culture before I saw it in wrestling. So that's why I got it at number 4.
Gotcha. Matt, you're number 4.
WrestleMania 17. Can anyone guess what this match is?
TLC 2.
Yep. TLC 2, Dudley's, the Hardys, Edge and Christian. We've talked about this match multiple times on this channel. This is arguably, I mean, you could argue if 1 versus 2, which is the better one. I think bigger stage, follow-up match. A lot of times if you do a follow-up match, like sometimes if you have like a great match and a month later you have a follow-up match to it, it's not as good. This, in my opinion, was better than the other one because of the stage it was on. It built up to this. And these guys are, I mean, yeah, technically Vince was taking advantage of the Hardys being substance abusing alcoholics with the amount of punishment they took. But hey, if they're gonna abuse those substances, I'm gonna make a profit off and put some good matches out there. You know,
we're gonna make it work, pal.
Yeah. So I think there's also taking advantage of the real life shenanigans with the various girlfriends of the Dudleys and Hardys, the Hardys and Eddie Christian at the time. So there's a lot. This match a lot.
That had not happened yet.
That was okay, yeah, okay. Yep, so that's my number 4.
Nice. My number 4. We're gonna stay at WrestleMania 39, and we're gonna stay at night 1, an early match for the Intercontinental Championship. 3 big guys just throwing meat. It's Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Gunther. This match went almost half an hour. Just stamina machines hitting. Just if you've watched a Gunther match, it's a hard-hitting match. A Sheamus match is a hard-hitting match. Drew McIntyre hits power moves that have impact out of nowhere. And because it's a triple threat, there's no rules in this. It's anything goes. And eventually, when you get Gunther, I believe, powerbombed Sheamus onto Drew McIntyre and then pinned Drew to get the win. This was just a war. And you just appreciate talent that is willing to just make this work and make this thing happen. And it was one of the best matches of all of WrestleMania 39. So that's my number 4. Ego, you're number 3, sir.
All right, I'm going with WrestleMania 24, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. Yeah, I know. We often talk about rivals, but we don't talk about idols. So you've got almost 2 men that really respect each other, from the old school Ric Flair woo to the prima donna preening of Shawn Michaels. And so when you've got a career on the line between these 2 guys that have such respect, you don't really expect much, but they put it on an absolute banger. And that, I'm sorry, I love you, before Sweet Chin Music will always be a heart wrencher. So I've got that as number 3. Good Lord.
That's so cute. Matt, you're number 3.
Ego's number 3 almost made my list. It's like number 6 or 7 on mine. And funny enough, that actually was part of the beginning of the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H soiree, as it was. Yeah. Because Shawn Michaels dared to retire Ric Flair. Yeah. So anyway, my number 3 is WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's some people who argue this is the greatest in-ring match of all time. It was a singles hardcore match, which is an I Quit type of thing. I don't know that I agree with that per se, but the storytelling was par excellence. 2 veterans who knew what they were doing, knew how to perform in the ring, hitting a lot of nice spots, making an I Quit match. You know,
it was a submission match.
That's like an I Quit. You quit, yeah.
Yeah.
So they.
Which interestingly enough, the special guest referee was Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
Now, until then, do you know what had never been used in the WWE?
What?
Tapping out. Ken Shamrock brought the tap out into WWE.
Well, because the influx of MMA guys was what led to MMA style matches occurring in America. In Japan and all, I mean, where a lot of the Japanese wrestlers also did mixed martial arts. So all that crossover was always there, you know. But yeah.
Okay. My number 3. We're going to last year. Night 2. Not the main event. The one right before it. I love this match. I said this would be a cult. I said this would be a cult classic match. It is one of the best women's matches of all time. Bayley versus Io Sky. This is about a 15-minute match, and these girls put on a clinic. Just the transitions, the way they moved. I mean, which made the Monday Night Raw match such an outlier, because Io is generally probably the best in-ring talent on the entire WWE roster. It is almost impossible for her to put on a bad match. And to Bayley, consummate pro, the story going in with a damage control and Bayley being ousted of this, Io ended up dropping the title, which doesn't bode well for Io going into WrestleMania, because Joshis do not do well at Mania. Here is a horrible fact. Of the 3 Joshis on the main roster, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io, at WrestleMania, they are a combined 0 for 8.
Ugh.
Well, the booking didn't help her at all. And, you know, I'm just saying.
Fair.
So that's my number 3. All right. We're getting to the big hitters now. Ego, you're number 2.
Man, WrestleMania 17 at TLC's Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge Christian, man. I was actually reading how they were saying that they were trying to figure out how to even get that spot performed. And I don't know if it was, I don't know if it was Ryback. I don't know. I forget the name. If it was Ryback or somebody else, they were saying
Rhino?
that if Rhino said that if
completely different. Yeah, completely different. I mean, Rhino was loved. Ryback, not so much.
I know it started with R. I apologize, guys. He was saying that if Bubba would pull the ladder back, it would create the momentum for Jeff to go forward so that Edge could hit the spear and it would look as perfect as it did. It's beautiful match, beautiful moment. I think this might be like, before they do get their 5th best WrestleMania moment, this is going to be one of them. To me, it's like there are a lot of good ones, but like that's a premium one that has to go in the hall for best WrestleMania moment. But I've got
that spear,
yo,
the midair spear, and the way Edge sold it.
Yeah.
All right.
Man.
Matt, you're number 2.
So WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat versus the Macho Man.
Great match.
Great match. So there's a lot of inside baseball on this match. So prior to the previous 2 WrestleManias and on the card, a lot of WrestleMania matches were spectacle type matches, where less about the wrestling match and more about seeing a 7-foot guy fight a 3-foot guy or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, and for Vince Vince is not a big wrestling fan per se,
no,
right? Understand that, but Vince loved the Macho Man and really liked Ricky Steamboat, which is why this match was allowed to happen. Now, if you've never seen Ricky Steamboat wrestle, I would say he resembles Shawn Michaels in terms of what he would do stylistically.
Right.
A lot of WWE fans missed him because he spent a lot of his time in NWSS WCW and other indie leagues, and he had WWE runs, but by the time he came to WWE, Vince was pushing bodybuilder wrestlers.
Right.
You know? Now, another thing to factor in here is Randy Savage, and a lot of guys didn't like this. Most wrestling matches, usually the heel calls it. They call it in the ring, the spots. You'll see them talking and say, "If you hear, I want to hit a suplex off the top rope now, whatever," and they'll arrange a heel call it, set it up, and all that. Savage wasn't like that. Savage wanted to put a script, like a computer's coding level script out. So everything that happened in the match we knew ahead of time. We wanted to plan, we wanted to train. And if you remember, and George the Animal Steel was in a feud with Savage, and George hated that type of wrestling. He wanted to freeform it. The storyline led to Ricky helping George, right? And the reason Savage called for Ricky to do it was because Ricky was also that type of meticulous planner with matches. So that led to a great, incredible, like everything in that ring you see, these guys planned and practiced beforehand, right? It's important to know that, okay? Because that allowed something to happen that you hear. You know, my biggest complaints about the horrible camera work nowadays. This match has arguably the greatest camera work and director work because they knew every single thing they were going to do. So the camera was always in the right spot to show the illusion of guys getting kicked in the head without ever breaking, and there was so many great spots. Again, this is in the era when big spot wrestling was starting to happen in the U.S., So we had top rope spots from both these guys. We had guys going flying over the top rope. Like at one point, Ricky, I think, karate chops Randy so hard, he flips backward over the top rope, lands on the back outside the ring and all that. And because the camera doesn't cut to Randy landing, we don't see Randy safely landing and not getting hurt. It looks like Randy took a big fall, Gotcha. This is a short match, only 12 or 13 minutes. But in that 12 or 13 minutes, it was as good as any or better than any other WrestleMania match I've ever seen except one.
Gotcha. My number 2. It's already been mentioned here in someone else's top 5. It was mentioned during the show, as this will be the first of the immortal moments for the WWE Hall of Fame. WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart. If anyone wants to say that this is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, I'm not going to argue with you. If you would say this is one of the greatest WWE matches of all time, I'm not going to argue with you. This match, the story going in, the result, the in-ring work is it's top notch. I mean, I am a Bret fan. In that era, I was Bret, Shawn, Hennig. Stone Cold was this was prior to Stone Cold's neck injury, so he was still a technician in the ring. So this was just a great back and forth match and the birth of the Attitude Era, arguably one of the best eras of all time. And now we're here at number 1. Ego, you're number 1, sir.
All right, the match that got me interested in meeting up with you guys and starting this whole thing with you, WrestleMania 40.
Cody Rhodes,
Roman Reigns. You guys got me so damn invested in that story. And then to actually have to go back and do research on this, like a school project that I actually enjoyed, to get to the final moment and share it with you guys was fantastic. Right. It was one of the best builds that I'd seen. And again, all because of you guys. It's mainly not so much for the match, but it was a moment that I got to share with you guys that you brought me in on. So that'll, for me, it's going to be a while before it gets knocked off of number 1 for me.
Gotcha. That's so sweet.
I'm a sap.
Hold on. I got some for that too.
That is so cute.
You're going to run that button out, man.
All right, Matt, you're number 1.
So this is the greatest wrestling match in WrestleMania history. This is arguably the greatest wrestling match of all time. It's real close to it. It's on my list of those. It's probably this is WrestleMania 25. I had the end of an era match at the end of this program. This is started. It's Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. This is arguably the 2 biggest performers in terms of putting it out of showstoppers in WrestleMania history and even wrestling history at the prime of their careers, having an incredible match. Like, if I were going to compare any American match to what Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles did at Wrestle Kingdom about 10 years ago, this will be the one. Okay? Like this is almost as good as that match. And to understand how legendary it is, like once you watch the Wrestle Kingdom match, it's the greatest wrestling match of all time. This was close to that. At the level of pure physical perfection, what these guys put on the ring. And again, it was a start. It was a kind of the first WrestleMania start. You know, the story had been brewing for a year or two between Shawn Michaels and Taker and Triple H. That they could put this match on and have something almost as good next year and year after. And like we will never see. I hate saying this because it's true in a way. We're never going to see anyone like the Undertaker again. And then you got Shawn Michaels to throw on top of that. And this match is what it is. It's the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
Okay. Not the greatest Mania match of all time. In my opinion, we've got my favorite match of all time. I've mentioned this numerous times. It's been mentioned twice already. The greatest human car crash of all time at WrestleMania 17. The match that was supposed to go on much later, but got moved to the middle of the show because they were afraid it would overshadow the main event. It's TLC 2. This is my favorite match of all time. I love this match from start to finish. So for those who say that I don't like hardcore type of stuff, stop it. My favorite match is this match. It's tables, it's ladders, it's chairs, it's violence, it's brutal. It is just nonstop balls to the walls. Rhino goring folks through tables. Jeff Hardy off an 18-foot ladder doing a swanton through Rhino, which breaks one table, misses Spike completely, but Spike still sells it. Bubba Ray and Matt being pushed out of the ring into a table structure, just busting tables. Lita hitting Spike with a chair. Dear God, the dent that chair made over Spike's cranium. And one of the best spots ever, the mid-air spear, where only someone like Jeff Hardy can do that and just fold himself to make that happen.
Benefit of all the drugs and alcohol.
Well, yeah.
That too.
Well, Jeff Hardy and Keith Richards could have pulled it off too.
Speaking of alcohol, I'm going to have a shot for that one right there.
Actually, Keith Richards would just burst into dust as he would just speak.
So, and as I was saying, this is a match that was supposed to go on later, but because of the hype of this match and how good the first TLC match was, Vince pushed this match down to almost the middle of the show because he thought it would overshadow The Rock and Stone Cold. Well, he wasn't wrong. It would have, and it did. And it famously, at the end of the match, when the cameras have stopped rolling on the match, all six guys stood in the ring, looked directly to the stage in the back, and just kind of went, okay, top that. So, yeah. So that is my number one of all time. And we have a two-way tie for third, a clear number two, and a clear number one. Tied for third with 5 points each. Finish the story. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. And Taker versus HBK at WrestleMania 24. Then, number two, WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart. Appropriately, it's the first one going into the WWE Hall of Fame. And number one, it's been mentioned by everyone here, with 11 points, is TLC2. Dear God in heaven, what are we? We are sadists. Well, we know Matt is, but that's fine. So, next week, and Ego, I expect the bangers out of you because we're going WrestleMania entrances because this is part of the spectacle of WrestleMania, the WrestleMania entrance.
I already thought we got the number one in my head.
Oh, me too. This is easy. Speaking of Mr. Ego, Mr. LeftEyeEgo, what do you have coming up in the coming week, sir?
Working on a few things behind the scenes, trying to do maybe a different shift in some of the videos that I do. We'll see how it works out with the research I'm doing. And if I get it set up, y'all will be the first to see it on YouTube's. Otherwise, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, me and Sheer are doing Ordinary Gains. And that's about all that I've got for right now.
All righty. The Shockmaster, the Unbearable 73. What do you have coming up, sir?
Well, tomorrow I'll be bursting into a barrier and reviewing CBGB on Roman the Empire channel. So CBGB is a movie from about 10 years ago about the legendary or infamous, you take your pick, music club in New York. Right, it was open for about 35, 40 years, and we're reviewing that movie tomorrow on Roman Empire's channel.
Yep. And as Matt said, I will be on with Roman of the Empire, going over the film CBGB. It's a fun film. It's actually a fun little film. And of course, I'll be back here with these guys and Brad when he's done doing work stuff. For Wednesday night is overbooked. I'll also tune in Friday the morning as I'll be talking about people who may end up being missing from WrestleMania. Oh no, interesting. It's not good. It's sad. But until then, folks, I want everyone to keep smiling, keep having fun, keep talking, and until next time, folks. Toodles.
And here we go.
Is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Yeah.